Hello and welcome to the All Things Geek podcast. I'm your host, Leighton, and I am joined by
Tyler,
my co-host, and
Aiden.
Hello to you both. So,
hello.
We've got 2 episodes to review today, 2 for very different shows. But we're going to go on our new segment as we do. There's a few things to report on. And then we'll go from there reviewing Halo Episode 1 and Moon Knight Episode 1. There will be spoilers for both episodes, so if you haven't seen them, go out and watch them, or do whatever, or just listen to us go on and talk shit. So, the first thing I want to talk about is that we got a deleted scene for the Batman, which revealed the Joker. This kind of blew up all over the internet and stuff, as it would. I'm just curious to know what you both think of that design and the scene in general. I think it was taken out of heavily taken out of like a comic strip or something like that.
It is in the same vein of like comic arcs where like Joker in the New 52 cuts his own face off and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I thought it was really cool. I get why it was cut from the movie. I would really like to know if it's still considered canon, though. Yeah. Like, is that interaction canon?
Like, the first thing he says to him is about anniversary, which already implies that they've had current history.
Before,
yeah, and something very interesting is Matt Reeves mentioned about this deleted scene in an interview not long after the movie came out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, when he revealed who it was in the cell.
Yeah, and obviously we all knew it was Joker. I think his presence in the movie, the final cut of the film, is much better than... I enjoy this scene, but it makes more sense in that one.
Yeah, I feel like the movie works with or without the scene. It's not like it was crucial.
It reveals everything about the Riddler, basically. You know, it's like if they had that interrogation scene with the Riddler instead of it just now you have the Joker, and they talk about
it would have been a bit too much having 2 prison sort of scenes very similar in the same film.
Yeah, and I don't think that reveal with that conversation was so riveting and such a huge part of the movie. I think that would take a lot of the Riddler's stance of the film to the Joker.
I think this scene would be great included in like a second viewing or like on the Blu-ray release. But in the theatrical
and they
viewing,
probably will include it on like deleted scenes,
like just a different cut of the movie with like certain stuff added in. I'd like to see that. What do you think of the design? Because for me, this is the most out there design.
Grotesque.
Yeah, but I
grotesque.
like it. It's very different.
I like it because
it is a very different take, akin to Joaquin Phoenix's take, but in the other direction.
Yeah.
And it's I'm interested to see where this Joker goes, because I know Matt Reeves has said that he doesn't have plans for him as like a main villain, but I'd like to see him come into his own and become the Joker.
Yeah, because Matt Reeves has said that he's, as we know him, he's not the Joker yet. Yeah. So I quite like that and whatnot. So the movie also has just overtaken Man of Steel and Justice League at the box office. So to the Snyder fans, eat shit. There's one more movie it's got to go past, and that's Batman v Superman. That's on 8 million, I think. So who knows? Do you know the odd thing about like DC's like most revenued money, like in terms of movies? What do you think is their number one movie?
DC's number one movie?
Yeah, like in terms of the most money made.
Dark Knight's got to be up there, I feel.
What do you think's number one? Are you going with the Dark Knight?
I'm going to say Dark Knight Rises.
I think it is.
You're both wrong.
What is it? Suicide Squad? It's Aquaman?
Yeah.
Aquaman?
It's Aquaman, and then it's the Dark Knight. How mad's that? And then it's Joker.
Weird.
What the hell?
I would have expected Dark Knight Rises to be above Dark Knight, just because Dark Knight was so good. Like people would be more hyped for the sequel. But
yeah, that's what I was. But Frankus was making it sound like he was already indicating it wasn't going to be.
That's fair. Yeah.
I was like, wait, hold on. So no,
I just find it mad that their most like successful like movie is Aquaman.
So strange.
I will say,
so bizarre.
So far, actually, for the past 7 months or so, let's just say since the Suicide Squad came out back in August, DC's actually had some really good stuff come out in film.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's no
DC's
Suicide Squad, the Peacemaker show, and now the Batman. I wish they can keep this streak up, but I'm concerned when they have Black Adam come out and Aquaman 2 and a lot of other. I'm not excited for these other movies. I
mean, hopefully Shazam could be good. I quite like the first one.
Oh, Shazam! Yeah. That's probably gonna be great. That's probably. Yeah. I love the first one. I love that movie, so I think the second one's gonna be great. But everything else, I mean, I'm only looking forward to see Dr. Fate and Black Adam, but I don't really.
Yeah, I think that's the case with most people. To be fair.
Yeah.
I'm interested in Black Adam, but I'm not gonna go.
You're not probably like mad excited for it or anything like that.
Nah.
Yeah. I get that. So finally, there's a date for the Doctor Who Easter special, Legend of the Sea Devils. I think it says that it's coming out on the 17th of the 4th. Still no trailer, which is a shame. They'll probably end up dropping it like a week before, like they seem to be doing with this current era, which is very annoying. But I'm glad that there's a release date for that episode. I said it on the last episode we did. Very much looking forward to that. To bring a little bit of a downer on the podcast so far, Ezra Miller has been a very naughty boy. Shall we elaborate on why he's such a dick? We have articles. We're not just talking, just randomly saying that he's an arsehole. But I mean, he is. But
you could,
you know.
There's plenty of justification.
Yeah, so if you don't know, he's been in the news recently. We know, but I'm talking to the listener, or whoever. He apparently threatened 2 Hawaiian residents who fled like a restaurant, if I'm reading this correctly. Apparently he burst into their bedrooms and like threatened the male victim, saying that he's going to bury like his slut of a wife and all this shit. And then, I don't know if it was on the same night or whatever, but he got arrested for basically being an arsehole because he thinks he's a bad man because he was drinking in a bar and went for a woman and lunged at a man playing darts because that's the biggest crime against humanity, apparently. So the Flash is on a mad one. He needs to be stopped.
So fucking this comes after a few years ago that Ezra Miller assaulted assaulted a woman like on the street and like shoved her to the ground or whatever.
Yeah, fucking choked her out.
Oh, like choking her out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus.
So it's and now threatening to bury and murder this guy's wife and then attacking a woman singing karaoke or whatever. This guy's got some serious problems, and I really feel like he should not be in any sort of like spotlight.
I think WB really needs to make a massive decision. Do we make a film with this dickhead? That's probably going to bomb anyway, or you know. Or do we just fire him and just act like the film isn't happening at all?
It did just get delayed the next year. So.
Yeah, so who knows? And it'll probably go through another 17 directors and shit. So hopefully that film is a pile of shit because of him. But moving on to something more positive, Carl Weathers has confirmed, or reportedly confirmed, that The Mandalorian Season 3 has finally wrapped up filming. Sure, we're all very excited for this because it means that Mando is coming back. Yes, baby.
Yes!
The man himself.
Yeah, so that's going to be very, very exciting. But talking about like Disney sort of stuff, for some reason, Disney is removing blood from certain scenes in MCU or Disney Plus shows. Why? But they're keeping certain ones. I don't understand the mindset behind this.
So, namely, it's from Falcon and the Winter Soldier so far.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, the third episode where they work with Zemo and Sharon to find the super serum man. And so they changed it to where like you don't see the bullet holes and he's not bleeding and his eyes are closed, so he looks like he's sleeping.
Yeah, it's gravity. It's gravity killed him.
Yeah. Zemo shot him with some sleeping bullets.
He had a little tumble and
like a tranquilizer dart.
Yeah. And then there's a shot where Bucky throws a big metal pipe at a mercenary woman, and it just stabs her in her shoulder and pins her to a freaking shipping crate. Mm-hmm. And they made it try to look like the pipe like bounces off, I guess, but it kind of just looks like it disappears. And then she acts like she's pinned to the crate, and she's holding her shoulder and like wincing in pain, but she's not pinned to the crate. There's nothing there. But then, in that same episode, you see Sharon, got a big old bloody knife, and she's like stabbing people all over, and like, she throws a knife into a guy's arm.
Do you know what? This just shows how much they can change with these shows and like movies, because I mean we've seen it, and we know the process of MCU movies where it's majority green screen, blue screen, and like they don't really tend to film on like location because obviously secrets get out and whatever. So it's odd that like they can just edit a scene like that. I don't know.
They did something for WandaVision too way back when there was like so with WandaVision there was this big fiasco that happened. I think it was around the time leading up to Loki, where they changed the post-credits scene, panning over to Wanda's
the cabin,
forest cabin.
Yes.
And there was this like editing artifact that got left behind in this new version of the scene, and people were like, "Oh, it's Doctor Strange! Oh God, it's Doctor Strange!" It was just like a little screwed up piece of editing. But so I don't. What's the point? I don't get it at all.
It's just wasting time. It's just so pointless. Like, I don't understand the mentality behind it, because you've literally got the Netflix shows on there now, and they are graphic
you just put on
at
a show that's going to have more violence, worse, like probably more than what we saw in there already. So
yeah, so it's like, what you can't exactly edit around them. I mean, Moon Knight, which we'll get onto, that's pretty violent from what we've seen in the episode.
Supposed to be, and then we've already seen some blood. So
I just think they're talking out the arse. In all honesty, I just don't understand why they're doing it. It's so pointless. It adds nothing. It takes away from action set pieces because you're fucking upsetting little kids or whatever. Like, right?
If it was like. Because nobody's complained about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's been there for a year.
That's the thing. No one's
get it.
Having like a hissy fit over anything.
You still have John Walker, kills the guy, and then he's got blood all over the shield. Like,
exactly, and you get a zoom up.
I don't understand. So I don't know, man. It's really weird.
So what are they going to do? Edit all blood out of like every single film, then, or what?
See, I would get that if they were doing it for accounts that don't have mature content.
That would make sense, but.
Like, have two different versions. One that's child-friendly, blood-free, whatever.
But, like, they're going on, like...
censor the swearing, whatever, but...
But they're going on as if, like, these shows or whatever are, like, gory as anything, like...
Yeah, I don't get
it. It's so stupid.
I don't think they've said anything about it, either.
No, they're just...
This
is so bizarre.
Yeah, it's just people picked up on it. Wait a minute. What happened?
Yeah, that's a bit... shit. I mean, it's such a minor thing where you think, it's not really anything to complain about, but when you start noticing it, like if you do a rewatch, you'll be like, what the fuck? I remember that different.
No, if you watch that pipe scene, it is glaringly obvious that
I'll have to
it's not right. Yeah. The scene where the woman's supposed to have the pipe in her shoulder is
I don't get that.
So bad.
What's the point? That's probably like one of the coolest shots in the episode, from what I remember.
Yeah, Bucky just chucks it at her, and she's like pinned to the wall, and it was freaking awesome. Like, Bucky's a badass in that scene, and now he just dunk.
She's clearly a badass. But yeah, moving on. That was all that I got from that's all I have for my new segment. Is there anything you two want to talk about? Because I think you've got some figures to talk about and stuff.
Yeah. So there were some figure reveals. Yes. There was a Power Ranger Red Man that was revealed, and I mean, I never watched much of In Space, and I don't know the context behind this red guy, and the figure looks kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. I like him,
but yeah, I mean, it's like my favorite color, so like it's cool. But it's
I like him from the waist down.
Yeah, that's fair.
Do you really?
And then Fortnite Victory Royale Series Wave 3 got revealed.
So we've got a few characters here, haven't we?
Yeah.
Cluck. Is this wave? This is Wave 3, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Wave 3.
Oh,
so Cluck, Condor, Lombro, and then a repainted Lynx.
Lynx, yeah. I want Cluck. Oh, and there was also Ghost Meowscles, is it? That's Walmart exclusive.
He's a Walmart exclusive. There's no physical pictures of him yet, but
yeah, I don't know if
he looks fun.
Mm-hmm. Don't think there was anything else.
So some of the Halo figures, including the new Deluxe Series Arbiter and Master Chief, were up for pre-order on GameStop. Mm-hmm. So I got those pre-orders in.
Mm. Oh yeah, I saw you send me that the other day. That's cool. I'm looking forward to those figures. I'm definitely gonna get like probably the same ones you're getting. So
yeah, I've pre-ordered the Arbiter. I don't really want that version of the Arbiter, but I do really want to see it.
I mean, look, they're eventually gonna make. I think they're gonna make the original trilogy look for Arbiter, but like that'll do.
They will for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's so cool that they're making it. I have to get it and see what it's like.
Yeah,
you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be the first Elite in the line? As well?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
For the 6.5 inch scale line, yes.
All right. Okay.
It was funny because Tyler and I were talking the night before about the Spartan collection, and I was like, "Oh, it'd be interesting whenever they do this, like maybe they'll do the Covenant collection or something else." And then next day. We find these figures and one of them ends up being the Arbiter.
It's
pretty interesting to see, like, as a full line or whatever.
Makes me think, are we ever going to get, like, Grunts or Jackals or Brutes?
That would be quite... You know? Yeah.
Or even, like, the Prophets? How freaking cool would that be? Oh, my gosh. It would be, like, uber deluxe.
Wrinkly old aliens in a chair,
I think that's it for, like... figures, unless Aiden's got something to add to the news section.
No, not that I know of. I know we're gonna get some new Marvel Legends releases coming up. Because Moon Knight just dropped, and that means we're probably gonna get the rest of that Disney Plus wave of Infinite Ultron, the Bat figure.
Well, I think we'll probably see at least two more, but I think She-Hulk and Ms. Marvel are in the way.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty sure that Moon Knight characters are going to be taking the rest of the slots for that wave. I'm not sure where I heard that from, but I think it was someone in the Marvel Legends team. It might have been Dan. But he said early April are going to be quite a few. So, if they do, I mean, I would see them obviously making Moon Knight, but Mr. Knight would be cool as well. Mm-hmm. And maybe they'll make an Arthur Harrow figure. I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll have to see. There's going to be other characters they're going to have in the show. I guess we're not sure of yet. But I feel like the rest of that wave is just going to be Moon Knight characters. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're going to get Miss Marvel and She-Hulk in this wave just yet, personally. So we shall see. I'm
just going off what they said, where all the other figures in the wave haven't been introduced to the MCU yet. So
okay. All right. So... I think Miss Marvel is definitely possible. With her coming up in June, I think,
I think they can do that, unless they hold it off until, like, later in the year, and then drop it when, like, She-Hulk comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, who knows? We'll have to see.
I think about the releases of waves, because, we're probably not going to get... It's showing us, like, if you order Hawkeye or Kate Bishop now, it's, like, coming out next year, which is like, geez.
Yeah,
it's
which... Yeah, I think that's overcompensation for the shipping delays or whatever, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it is. Like, I think we're probably like maybe towards the end of the year. I think fall. It's usually when it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that's all I really to say.
That is our news segment for this week. But we're going to be talking about Halo first, and I'm sure some of us have more positive things to say about it than others. I'm going to quickly go through my things that I wrote down whilst I was watching it. It's just bullet points. It's not like, visually looks good. The elites look okay at best. The costumes for the Spartans look good. The actors can actually move around quite a fair bit. It's a bit bloody, surprisingly, with limbs getting shot off and stuff. Solid opening, apart from the mullet people. That's what I called them because most of them have got mullets and shit. And I was like, they were using AK-47s in the cars from 2001, so that really put me off. Not a single grunt for the Covenant. Why? After the opening, the story becomes a mess, and we're currently only into episode 1. Those were my notes. Pretty sure that gives you everything you need to know how I feel about. I didn't hate it. When it was good, I can't lie, it was. Do you know what I mean? But most of it is what I expected it to be, which wasn't that great. So either one of you can go next, because I'm sure Aidan, you're quite positive on the episode.
I don't know. Should Tyler go ahead, because I think you share maybe similar, or actually, yeah, I'll just let you go ahead.
Okay. So I was initially very excited for the show, and then as more trailers and promo material, and the people behind it. I was a real issue with this jacket. As things progressed, I just got less and less and less interested and enthusiastic.
As more came out about it, so
I went into this episode with an open mind, put my misgivings aside, and just really wanted
just to see how it would.
I really wanted it to impress me. And I like it up until the 30-35 minute mark where the Spartans split up and they leave the planet. And then after that, it just felt like a lot of typical sci-fi cliches, just all being thrown at the scripts, just over and over and over. Just beat after beat, and just it felt like an entire season. They're trying to cram in a season's worth of development and junk for Master Chief in one episode. And they take his helmet off and they leave it off for the rest of the episode, and it's just very disappointing. It's not very good. I don't like it.
Before we move on, I just quickly wanted to add, there was maybe one bit where I got a little smile out of me, and that was just them adding in the shield sound when his shield's depleted, and then it recharges up. I was like, yeah, okay, I like that. Apart from that, it was just whatever. So, Ian, you're more positive on it, so I'm curious to know what you think of it anyway, because you've heard us,
look, I will say right away that I completely understand your critiques and problems with it. I was very from the beginning. I've been very excited about it, and the reviews kind of had me a bit concerned, and I think most of them were kind of wiped away when I went into it and watched it. I was just enthralled by the first half hour of the opening action scene. I could not believe. I was like, this is amazing. I think I understood why they probably chose to use just the elites in the opening scene, because I know everyone wanted to see grunts and jackals, which I think we will see later in the show. Definitely jackals.
Yeah, jackals.
The show, the beef of the Covenant with the elites. You just see them in action. Normally they won't formulate that way in the games, but this isn't the games. This is actually something quite different, and I think it takes a lot of pieces of Halo lore and mixes them around, where I do understand why Tyler is saying that it's kind of rushed in some ways. But I think certain aspects of like Chief going AWOL from Halo 5 is done better here. Now
it's so weird though, like his first episode, he's like, oh fuck this, I'm off. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so. I
feel like I need to watch it again to really understand. Like I don't feel like I got to like that. It was a little too quick. But look, I also think this is just one episode that we're judging by the 9-episode series or season it's going to be. So I'll give them some room and see what's going to happen. That's why I'm staying.
Yeah, definitely see how episode 2 pans out.
I love the little references. I mean, when you had the elites come in, they're saying "wart wart." I was like, "Oh my god!" And how they were blasting people away was amazing. And I was not expecting it to be that violent, but I love it.
Do you know what it makes me wonder though, with how brutal the elites were, even though they're not really that brutal in the games and stuff. Like they do have a thing about.
No, well, you got to make them threatening. You know, I think
is how brutal the brutes are going to be if they're in this show.
They're going to be pulling off people's heads, really. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I don't even know if they're going to be in the show.
There was, I'm not sure what to expect from the show. And it kind of, like, I don't know if it's the case, but it appears there's only 4 Spartans as well. Could be wrong.
Which it's weird. Like, I'm also surprised that it's, like, their home base is still at Reach. Like, Reach is still around in the story. Yeah. And it's crazy to me. And then you have Halsey, which I guess is...
Oh, Tyler has an issue with her.
Yeah, Tyler loves her. I know that.
You should elaborate on that in a bit.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. That's really all I can say. I just did not... I'm still not sold on Chief taking off his helmet.
I hate that. I really do hate it.
I thought if they did, if Chief was going to take off his helmet, you would just have an over the shoulder shot and show her reaction. And that's it. You know, and then he'll put it back on.
Like I understand the criticism of, well, it's a TV show, you have to show the main character. Like, yeah, but I mean the games have done that perfectly anyway. It's his body language that portrays what he's like.
What does that change? Unless, like I say, what the story's trying to tell, because now it's like Chief is having memories of his past, so I'm curious of like, maybe it's why they're showing his face. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I'm curious to know if that was Forerunner technology as well, that it was like...
It was, yes.
Oh, right, okay. Right.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah, I mean, for me it was alright, I guess. When it, like, especially that opening, I didn't think it was like the greatest thing because the CGI was off at times for me. And I got bored of the first person view constantly being like, hey guys, look, we can go in for it. Like, yeah, we get it, like, we know. You don't need to do that to impress us.
I mean, I don't know. We have next couple months of Halo for this. I'm just excited.
I want to know the deal with that that woman that's with the Covenant.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck her deal is.
Yeah, that kind of is the antithesis. Like it's the opposite of anything that the Covenant's ever supposed to be about. So I don't really get her like that.
Yeah, and the whole thing with what character is it where Halsey is the parent?
Miranda Keyes.
Yeah. You had some things to say about that when you first watched the.
So it's all. So first, I want to say, Aiden mentioned a point where he said that Chief going AWOL. He not to argue or anything, but I'd rather watch Halo 5 than this. I'm sorry, but after Halo 4, Chief going against the UNSC makes way more sense in Halo 5 to me than this. This was like he touches a rock, he sees some images, and then he's like, "Nah, fuck you guys."
Well, I mean, it's like that, and then like he's ordered to like execute her and shit. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I mean, does he have to like suddenly betray them? Like, can't he just like disobey the order entirely? He doesn't have to like flee. Halo 5 is a terrible game. So
it's not good, but I would much rather watch pretty much everything to do with Master Chief I feel like Blue Team and all of that.
I get what you're saying,
because this is not Master Chief at this point.
Yeah,
it's just not.
Yeah,
it's Joe Schmo in Master Chief's armor with Master Chief's name, who's not anything like him.
That's quite sad, that, when you actually think about it. I mean, like, obviously, you're disagreeing with that, which is fair, but I get where he's come from, because I feel like Halo 5 kind of had a development with it, where even though the story isn't the best,
it was a progression of the plot. It was a direct continuation of where Halo 4 left him in a very emotionally vulnerable state. Mm-hmm. So it made sense that he would make irrational decisions and not like,
even if it
a Turok not kill a girl, betray them,
or whatever.
Right.
I mean, it's a bit. They could have saved that for later in the season and built it up, because then that would make sense. But it's like the first, like, as soon as he touches the artifact, like you say, sees some images of his past, he's like, oh, my head's all over the place. She tries to like guilt trip him, say, oh, you killed my mother and all this, and he's like, all right, okay. Well,
not to make it the Mandalorian, but if you had like the first 30 minutes of this episode set up that Chief is stuck with this girl and he's trying to get her back to the UNSC throughout the season, and then at the end of the season, that last 20 minutes where he's finally like he's just gotten sick of their shit and he's been learning stuff on his own, going through his like self-discovery journey, and then he turns against them and saves her from them. I could buy that, but not in episode 1 when he's been with this girl for like 20 minutes on screen.
There are just too many conflicting thoughts here, you know.
It's an odd one.
It's just way too much.
I mean, it was a lot of content they just put in within. Really, basically, it was a full hour. So.
Yeah, and like, it's all good, like packing out your story, but like thinking about like the grander scale of things, like how is that going to favour?
It's like they ordered everything off the menu and they were expected to successfully eat everything on the menu in one meal. And it didn't work. Like, they got sick and now they're throwing up.
What I'm interested about, too, is that if they're doing so much in this episode, what are you going to do in the other 8?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, episode 2 supposedly is about, like, the politics of, like, them and stuff.
Well, we've seen scenes in the trailer where Chief is with Halsey and he gets Cortana. So, like, he goes back at some point. So are they just going to forgive him? Or, like, what? In all honesty, is he just going to change his mind again? Like, is Chief bipolar in this show?
In all honesty, I'm kind of sick of them being like, is Chief about... Like, listen, right, we all know Chief is, like, the hero and everything. Look at the games, the amount of stuff that he did for them, and yet, like, in 4 and 5, it's like, oh, is he against us? Chief is bad, let's stop. Like, shut up, man. Fucking hell, did the years, like, before this not happen or anything? So, like...
Well, the UNSC is just full of fickle people in both the games and the show, I guess.
So, whatever. Had potential, probably fell flat on its arse. In all honesty, for me, it showed the best it can be within that, like, opening action set piece. After that, I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I was worried about. Like Halsey cloning herself, what's all that about?
You know what I'd like more than this episode? What? I'd like a road trip movie of Master Chief and that old man from the beginning of the episode. I like that old man.
Oh my God.
That'd be great. There's some old dude giving Master Chief shit about everything he does. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that also makes me wonder though, like, if there's only 4 Spartans, including Chief, at what point do those other ones go rogue then?
They don't say that there's only 4. There's only like those 4 on the base or whatever. But
okay.
there's the dude with the jacket over his Spartan armor and the posters.
I think that's
and
the guy
so.
that was like, where he's starting to hold you, like, will do anything for Chief or whatever. Like,
no, it's a different guy. He has a separate poster.
Oh,
different name, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure there's more Spartans. They're just not going to be relevant because we see a bunch of other like Spartan armors in Ozzy's lab too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's move on to something I think we all agreed was great, which is Moon Knight Episode 1. So I'm going to let someone else go first because I haven't got any notes. Before we started recording, I said I was going to eyeball it, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And whatnot. So, yeah, do any of you want to go first and just, go from there?
Yeah, guys, Moon Knight, what else can I say? Oh my gosh, this first episode was absolutely incredible. It definitely feels so different from anything else we've seen from the MCU. A unique blend of weird, but also it's just very unique in how it's telling its story, where it's not a typical origin, and how they take advantage of this unique concept for a character, pretty much an anti-hero. I don't want to say full-on superhero because I don't feel like Moon Knight is. Using his multiple personalities and having one of them find out who he actually is and kind of like see his life in a whole new way. And this, what was it, around like 45-minute episode, 41,
yeah,
41
I think
minutes.
it was 46. And I mean, they've got the credits, so that's like, what?
Right, and the credits are incredible, by the way. There's no intro in the opening, and I hope they can like keep that out of there for the rest of the series because it makes it feel like a mini-movie. And that was...
I think that's what they said it was going to be as well. Like, it's meant to feel like a mini-movie, so...
Yeah. But I think it works because there's so much happening or to tell about this, and it allows more time for characters to fill in and also to explore the character of Moon Knight. I don't think it would be done as well on a 2-hour film than it is how far it's been here.
Yeah.
But just excellent all around.
I mean, like, if this was a 2-hour movie, that would be your first 2 acts right there, and would be going into the third act. So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can do so much more with TV, can't you? So... It's a bit of an unfair comparison if you like have it as a film.
So that's why I'm glad we have 6 hours, the 6-episode series to go all out. And this is a great because it's not a whole lot of action, but it's great because it goes around quite a bit. It's just very unique in how it's told through. We follow Stephen Grant throughout the whole episode, aside from the first scene with Arthur Harrow, which seems like a very interesting... It's a cult leader, which we haven't seen a villain like that, really, in any of the Marvel films before, so it's a different way of viewing it. And it has a very... Everything about this episode just has a different tone, but I really enjoy.
It's definitely got, moments of, a psychological horror.
Yes.
Which was talked about, which I really like, personally. Sorry to butt in. This blew me away in all honesty.
Yeah, dude, how it's shot.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
Like you say, we've not had an MCU thing like this, and it opens so much of the MCU, and within its first episode, it builds on the world so much.
And another thing is, too, while it builds in the world a lot, it's also very... contained on its own. It doesn't reference anything else. It's which I'm quite glad because the reason why, supposedly anyway, the reason why it's set in London is because I don't know if it's the director or writer or whatever. They came out and said, well, they didn't want to set it in New York because New York's kind of a bit too busy with the MCU anyway. So having it set elsewhere,
which is comic accurate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Moon Knight is very prominent in New York in the comics, but maybe eventually. But right now, I like this globe-trotting adventure.
Yeah, I like where he is. I mean...
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, of course.
I think it's like the first British MCU hero.
Yeah, before even Captain Britain, where the heck he is.
Yeah, well...
I mean, we've had... I say that we've had Captain Carter.
Oh, British. He's not really British. At some point, not. Mark Spector will be the main protagonist, and then he'll be American again.
Take over.
Yeah, I'm not... Yeah, you know what I mean.
He's as British as I am.
Yes, with that fake accent.
Exactly.
So, no, I gotta say, you're in so much the perspective of Stephen Grant that I love the shots that maybe some people will be upset that they take the action scenes away, but that cuts back to him in between.
That's giving you an idea of what he's experiencing.
Yes, and it's so cool. There's shots like
I love
the puddle of water where it's like it shows like it's reflecting, but it's actually flipped around, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great shots, like the ending towards the end with the museum when he's chased by one of I guess it's like a jackal, I don't know, or some kind of...
I think it is a jackal, yeah.
That looked freaking awesome. I wish I got to see even more. But how you're falling around the museum, the camera's like falling and like inching away and coming back in.
There's a lot of handheld camera work in this.
Yes. And, well, I think it works because it tells that story so well. And for what this is, I mean, for sure, certain scenes, but... Yeah, I mean, that one car chase, I really enjoyed. A funny song playing over it. And, you know, when he's driving around. And, I mean, I was like, wow, this is just it's something else. And it just, there's so much they packed into this where I'm like, it's not wasting any time of showing you what this world's like or what this world Moon Knight's like. And Stephen Grant, as he's figuring out, and now we actually got an explanation for the goldfish post that we got yesterday. Yeah. So... Which, that goldfish have a short memory span or something like that. I don't know.
Lifespan.
Lifespan.
Well, I think the implication was Mark was off, in whatever country for 2 days, so his goldfish died, so he had to get him a new one.
Yeah,
He said that one has two gill, actually has a full gill, and he went back, and then, he realized he missed a day or so. And that's really cool. I'm going to, it's really, really cool. And I just like that. It's a smart way of starting a series, like, you're not just like, Mark Spector, mercenary. We start with him, and then he becomes Moon Knight throughout the series. No, he actually is already Moon Knight. He's already in action, already the Fist of Khonshu and pulling out missions. I love Khonshu's voice. I forgot the actor's name. I know him.
Do you know, like, at first I was like, I don't know how I feel about that voice, but, like, as it went along, I was like,
that's exactly... that's exactly how I imagine his voice, like, pretty close to that when I read the comics. So... That was really great to hear, and I love how you just said, now the stupid one's back.
The idiot's back.
The idiot's back. I think it's just so funny.
It's quite comedic, to be fair. Like, for a show that turns quite dark near the end.
Yeah. I loved. We'll get to that. I'm going on, but I want to talk about the Scarab real quick, which I think is an interesting artifact that's a little MacGuffin that's probably going to be pretty important. There's one of the comic books that when Moon Knight fights King the Conqueror, he has like a scarab that I think that travels, like, helps you travel through time. So people are like forming like, ooh, what I can do? I don't think it does. I think it just
there is a shot in one of the trailers where what's his name?
Floating.
Cult leader. Yeah, he's got it like floating above his palm. So I think it's probably like showing him the way to whatever he needs to.
It feels like
release
something out of Indiana
crocodile
Jones.
Goddess. Yeah.
So, and that's another thing I'm loving about this is that with the whole adventure, it's like Indiana Jones, which I'm like, oh my god, I love that. So, it's cool. The thing is too is that this doesn't feel like really doesn't feel like a superhero thing. It feels like some kind of psychological thriller, action adventure thriller.
That's exactly what I got from it as well.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like, it's just another superhero. No, it's just like this guy. If you had it on itself, it's such an intriguing plot. This guy finds out he's he's someone else, and he has these other personalities, and one of them is like working for an Egyptian god. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah. Do you know what I do love? Like, talking about like the story structure, because we've talked about this many times whenever we talk about like Disney Plus shows and stuff, is that the shows can take risks and stuff. Mm-hmm. I personally love the way the show is already structured, how we see Steven like with his day-to-day life and stuff, and the first thing you notice is when a girl comes up to him and says, "Oh, are we going on that date?" And he's like, like, what are you on about? Mm-hmm. Clearly,
which I guess at some point Steven blacked out during his like workday, and Mark Spector was just making moves on his coworkers or something.
Yeah, I guess he must be going on that gift shop for other reasons.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know if we're going to get all three personalities, because there is another one, isn't there?
Jake Lockley. I don't think Jake Lockley is going to be in this show.
All right,
I really don't.
I think they made no mention of him, but Mr. Knight's going to be here.
Yeah, which I'm very excited for.
So I have a little bit of theory.
Okay.
I think they might blend Jake Lockley and Mr. Knight together, honestly.
So I think, well, for one, I think next episode we might see Mark Spector's perspective of episode 1.
Okay.
But I think Moon Knight's obviously Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mr. Knight might end up being Steven.
Interesting.
Like, might be like his way of just, there's always, Moon Knight is always working for Khonshu, whether Steven or Mark is in control.
Yeah.
I think, because I don't think Khonshu's just going to want some a-hole to be taking control every now and then and screwing up his plans. So,
I mean, it could be Jake, though.
I don't see the show bringing in Jake, I'm going to be honest. There doesn't seem like any room with the timelines.
Who knows? We'll definitely have to see. But, yeah, talking about the structure, it's not an origin thing, which I love. The fact that we, say, for example, like, see Steven's day-to-day life and whatnot, his work and all this stuff, we meet these characters, and then he goes to sleep. And then you see events from, even though it's his perspective. Now, from my understanding, were these events taken, like, before? Like, or was this just when he went to sleep and that they were taking place? Like,
no. So here's how it lines up. Okay. We see him working up till Thursday, and then he has his date with the lady the next night. Yeah. So he goes to sleep, and then Mark Spector takes over and takes him on this adventure to go get the Scarab, and that takes him up until Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And then when he wakes up, he's Steven again, and then he missed the date by 2 days.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I will say, when that happened, I got, like, confused. I was like, alright. But I wasn't, I was rolling with it. It was quite an amusing scene where that guy's, like, telling them all to kneel, and he's the one that stands up, he's like, bollocks. And then, like, I love that. It's just, like, something I'd do. But then it cuts back near the end, and I will say that at no point in this episode does it drag. Like, there's no, like, with other MCU shows, I feel like there's moments where they're just dragging. It's like, oh well, let's speed things along. Like, you're on a time. This didn't waste any time. Everything was there. It had a purpose. It made sense. It was building towards something, or it was building, like, say, building the gods up and stuff and whatnot. We get a great scene where it's like a psychological horror with that elevator, which is, if you haven't seen the clip and you're watching that for the first time, it is quite freaky in a way. I love that scene personally. And stuff, and like, even just Steven, like, figuring stuff out for himself, like noticing the marks on the floor, and then like the wood that was like broken in, where clearly Mark's like hidden stuff, like the phone and whatnot. Like, he comes across as like a idiot in a way, like, not an idiot, but like someone who isn't. He's definitely not taken seriously. So it's quite nice for him to have that moment to show that he's not useless. Like, he can figure, even though it's a little thing. Do you know what I mean? I will say, the stuff with the mirrors is brilliant. Just when he's doing a certain thing and the Mark in the mirror just stops and watches him. That's so good. I love that. It's freaky in a way, but I love it. I really do love it. And then finally, we see the costume at the end of Moon Knight. Great reveal. We don't see the full fight takedown, but I don't think you really need to.
We get the implication that Moon Knight is just thrashing this thing when it tries crawling out or whatever and gets dragged back in.
Yeah, that was great, and that's it. That's just the ending. It's like, yeah. So from what we've seen, I don't think we've seen a lot from the show, like in terms of like footage. I think like majority of it was from episode 1.
Yeah, most of the stuff besides like some Arthur Harrow stuff and some Moon Knight stuff, most of it was from this episode.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen anything
there are some Jake Lockley scenes and trailers and stuff that we get glimpses of.
But majority,
most of it.
Most of it is from episode 1. So,
which is kind of how these Disney Plus shows tend to go. They
don't really give that much
first
away, which is nice. What are your thoughts on the episode? Because you didn't really kind of just butted in and but.
I love it. I said, I'm very interested. I've already got theories going about what we might see or what might happen, how things might play out.
Yeah.
But it's super cool. I'd say it's probably. I'll need to think back on it, but it's probably my favorite premiere episode.
Yeah, hands down, it's my favorite.
MCU shows.
I love it.
We'll see if it becomes my favorite. Most of the MCU shows have given me something that I really latch onto and love. But we'll see. And then I'm just super freaking excited. I hate that we have to wait a whole week.
That's the thing. This is like, I know you're not mad about Loki, but Loki was the only show where I was like, I need the next episode now, sort of thing. It's the exact same with this.
I was like that with WandaVision and with Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I was less like that with Hawkeye and not particularly like that with Loki after Sylvie got involved.
Next week needs to just hurry up and get it, because this is definitely a show I could. I want to binge. That's
as far as I understand as well. We get our next Halo episode tomorrow, so
we do.
Great. Well, I don't know if I'm going to carry on with that because. So if either of yous do, then let me know.
I'm gonna give the show till episode 3.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, I'll do the same.
Begrudgingly is okay.
Yeah,
listen. If it gets to episode 2,
I essentially had to watch the first episode twice immediately back to back.
That's true. You had to watch that twice over because Paramount Plus is a shit service. Unfortunately, it's not over here, so I'll have to pirate the bastard. Oops, I shouldn't have said that.
I'm sure it's available on something proper.
Yeah, on dodgy boxes and stuff like that. Pirate boxes, yeah, mate. I'll have to try and find a way. Play it, like if you're listening, try not to pirate stuff, but it just happens.
I'll just record it on my cell phone for you.
If I can pay and watch stuff, I will. I'm not some freeloading bastard.
Yeah, well, Paramount Plus is something that I really wouldn't pay for. Yeah. I'm not paying for it. I'm using my dad's.
Yeah. I definitely, So, have you got any speculations what episode 2 could be?
Like I said, I think episode 2 may well be Mark Spector's perspective, filling in the gaps of episode 1.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think that would be really cool.
Do you reckon we'll get more? Do you reckon they'll introduce Mr. Knight in that episode, or?
I think Mr. Knight will probably come episode 3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I see episode 2 filling in the gaps of episode 1, and then picking up after he beats the crap out of the jackal, or seeing more of the fight maybe, and then we'll finish up that episode with in the museum, and then I think episode 3 will get into Steven grappling with everything that's going on in Mr. Knight.
Mm-hmm. I think we're probably going to see more of this Layla character, because she was briefly mentioned in this episode, so I think she's
she
bigger part of the next one. And
did you notice with the phone there was it was all like missed calls from her, and then there was one other missed call.
One other guy, I wasn't sure what that was about.
Camp or something, Duchamp, I don't know who it was.
So I picked
it was
up on
Hugh
that
Campbell from The Boys.
Whoa!
It's a crossover.
Why?
What would you? So we'll do ratings for the episodes, okay? So what are we going to give Halo Episode 1? Let's do it out of 10. 6 being average, 10 being great, 1 being absolute dog shit.
I would give Halo 5 out of 10. I would rather watch Master Chief's cutscenes from Halo 5.
Dang, I thought you would have given it less, in all honesty.
It's being nice.
Yeah, and what do you think?
I did enjoy the first half hour, so
okay,
that's true.
I'll probably give it a 7 or 8.
Okay, that's fair. And I'd give it a 6.5. I think. I like the opening battle, even though there's some wonky VFX. And I do like the scene where the Spartans are getting ready and the Marines are rushing out. I did quite like that, but everything else, just whatever. And a score for episode 1 of Moon Knight out of 10.
Out of 10, I'm going to say a solid 9 out of 10. I have one complaint with the episode.
Oh, what's that?
After Arthur Harrow fails to judge Stephen Grant, in that scene it is revealed that 3 of the employees at that place work for Arthur Harrow already. So how did Stephen just get to do the rest of his job and then they attacked him afterward? Seems odd, but it could also just be whatever, we'll deal with him later.
We're trying to keep it a bit under wraps, even though they're attacking
man,
Stephen.
You gotta ruin shit for me.
That was my one thing. I was like, wait, why did you wait this long?
No, man, yeah, I guess.
It's not a huge complaint. That's a nitpick.
Yeah, fair enough. And what about you?
I'll give it a 10.
Yeah.
I really don't have any issues. That doesn't bother me. Look, he attacked them either way. So
I'd give it a solid 9 as well, I think. I know there's been complaints online about the VFX. Quickly, what did you think of that? Did you have any issues like
the
CGI and stuff? Did you think there was
Yeah, I saw people complain about some of the cars, but no, it didn't take me out of it. It's not a big deal. I honestly, it looks like it's filmed more on location, which I kind of maybe not probably isn't. But...
no, I didn't really notice anything other than the jackal seemed slightly it felt like it should have been more shrouded in shadow, almost like the. It almost seemed like the lighting on the monster was darker than the surroundings at times, but that's really it.
Yeah, it was kind of like it was constantly out of focus as well to kind of hide it. We'll have to see how that turns out and stuff. If the rest of the VFX is like that, but
the only shot where I really picked up on that was when it jumps, he knocks over the shelf and then it jumps onto the roof, and that was really the only one.
What do you think about the outdoor stuff, with the VFX,
I thought it all looked great.
Yeah.
At first, I wasn't so sure about the first shot where Stephen wakes up and you see, what's his name? Oh my
Who?
God. I'm trying to
Okansu?
Yeah. And the first time you see him, I wasn't so sure about that.
Like standing behind him?
Yeah,
or
it wasn't terrible or anything. It just, I was like, alright, fair enough. But when he's in the dark and the lights are on and off, he looks great. And especially...
Well, I mean, that's like, it's a creepy design, so it's really it only looks creepy when it's in the dark,
Yeah.
I mean,
the movie
when he's just stood
You
there.
see him out in like natural light, like you see him by the bus on the street in the one shot. You're like, oh, that's weird, but there he is. He's freaking huge. But
yeah.
He's
I really love that close-up shot of his face. I love that. That looked great.
He's gonna poke you in the eye.
Also, something that we didn't really touch on, and sorry, it just struck me as a very interesting decision, not in a bad way, but just a unique way. Opening on Arthur Harrow's like sandal ritual, where he smashes the glass and
that was
walks on it.
He's walking on sand, technically.
Kind of, yeah.
In glass. Fucking jabbed up into his feet, the mad bastard.
Apparently, that was Ethan Hawke's. That was his idea for that.
Well, I'm sure Ethan Hawke just does that anyway.
Yeah,
he's that kind of guy.
Yeah. So, yeah,
gotta
that was interesting. I know that's the only scene you're kind of like, huh?
Wonder, that really sets the tone as like it's different.
Yeah, definitely.
It would be interesting if every episode, like the first scene, was just an Arthur Harrow scene, But I don't think they'll do that. This is just for this one. Yeah, man.
I haven't got any more complaints or anything like that. I think overall it was a pretty great episode to start off the season with. I just can't wait for more of the show, as I'm sure we all are. But just a last little segment for the episode, since, I kind of ask this sometimes. Have we bought anything new within the last week or anything like that? Any new buys from anyone? I know I have, so that's why I asked.
I got something new. I bought the Lego Batmobile.
Oh, yeah. Is that that's the new one, isn't it?
Yes, it's the new one. It's really cool. Oh, also I bought a Lego Batman movie set too.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh yeah, the Mr. Freeze one.
Yes, it's fun. It's fun. I really wanted it for the Mr. Freeze figure, and I never got a Lego Batman movie set, so I got it, and both sets are great. The Batmobile was obviously, I think we all agree, one of the coolest parts of the latest movie, and they don't have the die-cast model out yet, so I just compromised with getting the Batmobile set, and it's fun. They did a good job of capturing it. It's very bulky.
When me and Aidan were on call before we did all this, he was telling me about the Doctor Strange set that he has, and there's some illegal building on that. Some illegal...
What do you mean?
The illegal build technique.
Yeah. So
basically, people don't know. I mean, talk a little about Lego. There's a piece on the main build of the set, which is like a technical, like a monster creature, tentacle creature named Gargantos, and he basically has all these tentacles that protrude out of him, and there's two in the front underneath his eye, and there's a eyelash piece that makes up part of the eyelash because he just has a big eyeball in the center. One of those pieces that connects to the tentacles doesn't flush in or connect, so it kind of sticks out, and it puts stress on the piece because the eyebrow part hits against that piece. It's hard to explain without showing a visual image, but it's very odd. The piece doesn't go in basically, and it's kind of making it really
Here's the simple solution to that. Lego just amended the laws.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah, so I'm actually making a video that talks about it. I'm just making a review of that set. So, but yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting, and I'm surprised because I think it is pretty glaring. You put it together, and you're kind of like, "Huh, that doesn't go in all the way." How did that pass? Them checking on the model or testing it, seeing that it's ready for distributive. Going through that. I think it's a simple fix, honestly. It's
only an illegal technique if they say it's an illegal technique.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I mean, they pulled some stuff I'm very surprised by the past couple of years. So, yeah.
Tyler, have you bought anything new?
I got the Hasbro Fortnite Victory Royale Series Dio and Siona 2-pack.
Oh, that's a long name.
Yep. They're cool. I bought them for like $17, so I would not have gotten them for the full price of like the $45 or whatever, but they're cool. They're fun figures. I am working on the process of painting the clear dome visors gold on the inside to give it like a cool look, so that they just look like astronauts and not weirdos behind fog glass. But they're cool. They're fun figures, and I like them enough to not paint them entirely. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how those customs are going to turn out. And for me, I have ordered the new 20th anniversary Hulk, which I'm sure is inspired. It's the new line that's inspired by not Mezco.
First wave of Marvel Legends.
Yeah.
You have to put out Toad.
Yeah. It was meant to come today. I was hoping it was going to come today, but it hasn't, so it's probably going to come tomorrow or some shit, so I guess I can talk about it then when we pre-record. Another interview.
Well...
Go on.
Yeah. Well, depending on when we record the next episode. If it is going to be tomorrow, let me double check, but yeah, okay. Well, I have some McFarlane figures coming by next Tuesday, so I guess we can
well, at least you'll have some
about
things to talk about for the next Moon Knight review and stuff. And that's the thing, just to mention before we do head off, there is going to be another interview sort of episode. We're going to be reviewing a good friend of ours, Braden, also known as Renzo Mox or Renzolian. Well, we know him as Renzo Mox because that's his original name. I changed it, the bastard.
Yeah, he hates being called that now.
But yeah, we were meant to have him on with us, but because I haven't really slept. We've decided to do it tomorrow, and whatnot. So
I think it was better off because we had a lot to talk about here.
I mean, we're already at like an hour and 7 minutes, so an interview on there as well probably might have taken us closer to 2. But yeah, so we're going to pre-record that tomorrow. That podcast is most likely going to get shifted in with episode 2 of Moon Knight. And maybe Halo episode 2 if I can be arsed watching that. So it might be a long episode. Just a word of warning that you'll be hearing from us more next week. So do you have anything else to say before I cut off?
That'll do it.
That will do, donkey.
Right, well, thank you for listening. Please go and follow the All Things Geek podcast Instagram page for updates and stuff on episodes and topics and whatnot, and if we do Q&As we'll be putting it there, and also to rate the podcast because it massively helps us in the long run, and to share the episodes with your friends or whatever, or your nan, who knows,
or your grandma.
Yeah, and please do feel free to give Aiden a follow on Instagram
at Toakira Minakoto, is it still?
Or his YouTube, either one. So,
Toakira Minakoto as well.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Did you say hi?
No, I said bye.
It sounded like you said hi.
No.
Yeah, what? Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.